to see how we need to strengthen the authority in terms of its institutional framework so that everybody who comes across Lapsset is able to understand what does Lapsset stand for in terms of Africanity or in terms of this connectivity that we are talking about.
Transshipment business has been waiting on the STSS to arrive. So once we get the STSS end of this month, I'm sure from May we'll be having a lot of containers coming in here. So in fact, if you had delayed to come, you could have found it very busy.
There is a lot of appetite that Talo, they want to come back, and we hope to see some serious activities in the near future. They have already done their proposal. It is sitting with the Energy Regulatory Authority. They are reviewing it, and once it is done, it will be sent to Parliament for ratification. And once the proposal is accepted, I think they'll be given a go-ahead to start now going for that option of tracking the crude oil back to Mombasa, because the crude pipeline to construct, it will take 3.5 years. So they're saying if we were to wait for 3.5 years to run the pipeline all the way to Lamu, and yet we have the crude oil that is sitting here, so we need to start making money that can be able to support whatever we make from the crude, can be able to support the construction of the pipeline. And if you look at it, it makes a lot of economic sense if we go that route. So the government is really focused on it. We are reviewing the proposal, and soon we should be able to get a feedback.
We have already agreed with the government of Ethiopia that we start using the available infrastructure. As you are aware, the road between Isiolo coming down to Garbatula, the Horn of Africa, which is funded by the World Bank, is ongoing. The Lapsset road from here all the way Jara to Garissa, going to Isiolo, is on construction as we speak now. But the Ethiopian government has agreed to use the existing road, which is a little bit longer by approximately 400 kilometers. But they have agreed they will use that road for now to be able to transport. Once this is done, then we are good to go.
As much as it's infrastructure, it's also an economic corridor. Wherever Lapsset passes through, these are areas, whether in Kenya, whether in Ethiopia, whether in Southern Sudan, whether we are going to Cameroon, in Douala, these are areas that have been least developed. And therefore, what we are trying to do is how can we unlock the potential of all these areas? And the only way that we can be able to do it is by making sure that we realize the potential of this corridor and make it active and have an impact in terms of the societies that it goes along with. If you look at it and globally, we have what we call the China Belt and Road Initiative, connecting while China wants to penetrate into the world. We also have in Europe the Global Gateway Initiative and the issue of the management of the corridors. In African Union, they have adopted Lapsset as one of their projects, so that we talk about the issue of connectivity in Africa.
And secondly is about, I think our presenter Victor mentioned about the 10-kilometer issue. You know, that is the distance from Lodwar to Nadapal, which is basically at the border point between Kenya and South Sudan. We had done tarmacking all the way, but we still have a 10-kilometer stretch that was basically a bone of contention between Kenya and South Sudan. But we are happy. Our president is a very good negotiator, and he did a very good negotiations with our counterpart on the other side. And we said we delink the politics, and we delink the issue of who owns this section. Let's do the development. Let's tarmac the section. Let's allow goods and services to be crossing. Then at some point, we'll discuss who owns this section. But first, let's treat our people. And the other side accepted, and we are happy that soon the contractor will be moving to site to start dealing with that 11 kilometers, which again will allow now South Sudan to be coming on board, because Ethiopia is fully on board, and that's why we have this delegation coming in tomorrow. And we hope after tomorrow, maybe engineer here will be very busy from end of the month. You know, we'll be seeing the first vessel with that fertilizer, and I think it will be a continuous business moving forward. And with that, as a pilot project, we are very optimistic that South Sudan will also come fully on board, because they will not want to be left behind. As we speak, all the goods going to South Sudan, they have to come through the port of Mombasa. They have to cross two borders. They have to go through Malaba, then all the way to cross the other border to Juba. But now with this option, they'll just be crossing one border, from Nadapal to Nakodok into Juba. So it is a shorter distance compared to going all the way to Uganda.
But now you have come, it's good to come and see it when it is like this. This becomes the benchmark. When you come next, you now see how it is when you come next time. We really welcome you again. Come in, welcome, support us so that we can be able to actualize this project.
would require to have that support in terms of building that capacity and developing that institutional framework so that everybody can now be able to understand the way we understand the China Belt and Road Initiative, all the other corridors, the Tennessee Valley Authority. Because when the government came up with this project, it was a special purpose vehicle. One vehicle to deliver all these components, so that we don't have one agency going and doing it its own. It must have a bearing on where are you, what are you serving. And in this case is the Lapsset Corridor Authority, that is, or the program is also where all the projects that are within the corridor are supposed to fall into place so that we can be able to look at from where it starts up to the very end.
So these are the things that are coming up. So very interesting times ahead of us, but we are all ready, led by our able governor here. He's provided the best conducive environment. What he wants to see in Lamu is development, employment for the people, improvement of infrastructure, security, water, sanitation, sewerage. That is what he's looking at. And he supported us all through. And us as a team, Lapsset and Port, we are siblings of the same father. And you know, sometimes as siblings you quarrel here and there, but at the end of the day, things get done.
So this is very timely from my point of view to understand how Lapsset fits into all these big regional issues. But also, as I was saying to His Excellency the Governor early on, I'm here because we want to deepen our partnership here in Lamu and also in this region of Kenya more broadly. We think there are both some challenges, particularly around security, where we want to cooperate, but also lots of opportunity to develop the natural resources in this region, but also of the broader region of your neighbouring countries and the rest of Kenya as well. So we see Lapsset as having huge potential in that. So it's very good for me to understand that and to go away and think a little bit more about what we can do. So on UK assistance, I'm really pleased to hear all the praise for Trademark East Africa. That's a really important project for us. The work they've done here, but also at Moyale, the border post there, they played a key part in producing the one-stop border post that you referred to. So we'll now go away and look at the requests for assistance in terms of technical assistance. We're designing some of our programs. We want to be investing more in regional economic issues and in cross-border issues. So we'll go away and look to see if there's something we can do around that. We'll also look at what British companies in a whole host of sectors might be interested in being involved. So I'll talk to our Chamber of Commerce, I'll talk to our trade people and see what the potential is. Tullow, of course, is a British company, so I'll also follow up your conversations with Tullow, so I'll follow that up with them as well to understand from their perspective. So this is my first official visit to Lamu. It's my first visit here, so I don't come saying that I can promise things, but I can say I'm very impressed by what I've seen. So we will definitely go back to Nairobi and we'll talk to colleagues in London, in Addis, in Juba to see how we can follow up on this. We very much look forward to staying in touch. I think one specific thing, we are very interested in the security issue, and again we're discussing with the Governor and the DCC this morning. We do have an expert on maritime security based at the High Commission, so we would be very interested in her coming on a trip if we could put her in touch with your team so she can see if there's support that we can provide to you, and also so that we, as we talk to British companies, we've had a professional looking from our point of view to give that extra reassurance.
This corridor and Mosul Lamu Port is not only a strategic infrastructure investment for the country and the region, but also, as ably presented by Lapsset, an economic corridor that looks at unlocking the potential of the region that has been left behind for many years and is bedeviled with so many socio-economic challenges, just security and all. We're very excited as Trademark to be part of this conversation, given the experiences we have had already, like I highlighted earlier on in the Mombasa port, on how we can work with the government to harness the potential of Lamu Port, the relationship between Lamu City and Lamu Port. And there are things that we've already done to facilitate this. Through UK funding, the Moyale border posts was operationalized. The integrated border management IBM systems were done to a tune of, I think, $1.5 million, slightly more dollars. using UK funds. And we've done quite a bit to facilitate the cross-border agencies between between Ethiopia and Kenya. And the latest of which is this mission that is coming from Ethiopia. We are very much behind facilitation of this mission. There was one, I think, 2 weeks back in Addis that was well represented from the Kenya side by KPA, led by Engineer Sidai, and the DG for Lapset was there as well.